Good jobs data, no problem for stocks. Today's trading trends is about the labor market. We're going to take a look at the April non-farm payrolls report and why equities reacted so calmly to the stronger than expected jobs data at the end of last week, at a time when inflation is still running well above the Fed's target. Ilya, a few years ago, I'm thinking 22, 23, maybe even into 2024, a report like this could have really scared the markets. Markets may have assumed that stronger employment at a time with high inflation would have meant the Fed needed to tighten a bit more aggressively. Stocks probably would have sold off sharply in 22 or 23 with a jobs report like this. Yields would have moved higher, and we would have seen a discussion on higher for longer with the 2-year yield cross 5% again. That wasn't the reaction this time around, though. And so it has me asking the question, why did the market react differently this time? And does this market really need cuts?
Well, I think we have to live in the world as it presents itself today in the aftermath of the breakout of this Iran war. Nobody has expected the Fed to cut rates for quite some time now. And so the context here is what matters. The markets didn't have a realistic expectation that anything that comes out of this jobs data was going to justify rate cuts. We're just going to see the inflation numbers for April this week start to price in the oil shock. We haven't even begun to see it yet.
There's another angle around this that I'm also thinking about while we're watching stocks like Seagate and Micron and Western Digital soar 500% over the past year or two. Maybe the markets are starting to price in the idea that AI is a deflationary force a little bit more seriously. We know that one of the fears, of course, is labor displacement. We've heard all about it on the news. You've seen us talk about it here on air. Companies have done job cuts to justify or used AI to justify job cuts, Ilya. So I'm curious, do you think that there's this phase of discussion about automation, productivity gains, software replacing white collar workers? You shouldn't have gone to school for coding because those jobs no longer exist, et cetera. Is the fact that we have this narrative in the background preventing a good labor market report scaring the markets like it did in 22, 23, 24?
I don't think so, because you can have whatever discussion you want to have, and people are certainly having them. There's no shortage of those kinds of conversations. Unfortunately, a lot of them are pie in the sky, because what you see in the actual markets is not that. And you can tell by looking at the break-even rates in bond markets. Not only have they risen sharply, those are the inflation expectations that are priced into yields. They've increased sharply with oil prices, but also the gap between, say, the 5 and the 10-year has widened tremendously, whereas since the beginning of the year, it was non-existent. So the markets are very much expecting more inflation.
Ilya, there's a certain angle here about the lack of concern that the market has with respect to the jobs data. And I think it's more about the Fed's credibility, right? And you and I have long discussed that the worst thing for the market is when the Fed feels like it has its hands tied, it's backed into a corner, no hand on the steering wheel, it's looking in the backseat, whatever analogy that you want to use here. And so you have this layer where you have jobs data that's running at levels that doesn't look like it's recessionary. Layoffs are exceptionally well contained, even if the hiring rate is low. Jobless claims are not moving up or down by any significant stretch of the imagination. Wage growth has moderated, and it's probably going to undershoot inflation here for the next few months, so real wages will be down. But in a traditional framework from a few years ago, a stronger jobs market may have led the Fed and led the market to believe the Fed was going to have to tighten more, where here, it's almost a relief that, okay, we don't need to worry about the Fed having to deal with two different concerns at the same time. It can focus on the inflation problem and need not worry about over tightening at the expense of jobs.
I think when you look at the current situation, you have really the worst of all possible worlds, because on the one hand, you have this labor market that the Fed has been talking about, which for demographic reasons is a no hire, no fire at the net kind of a thing. Obviously, we've seen layoffs in tech, say, as a function of all kinds of things that have been said in earnings calls. But when you look at the bottom line, you see that because of the demographic changes that we have at work, it's not a market where you've had a tremendous amount of flow, both in or out Meanwhile, the Fed is a meaningful inflation risk that's going to hurt consumers, and we're already seeing that. For 2 consecutive quarters, consumption is slowing.
The one thing that is starting to change my opinion on this cycle, and needless to say, I've been a little bit more bullish than you have, is that,
sure,
I don't know, maybe the market, maybe the economy appears to be less rate sensitive this time around than investors and traders have seen in recent cycles, particularly on the other side of COVID, right? We have this gigantic corporate spending tied to AI that remains strong. The hyperscaler CapEx continues to run higher. The industrial policy spending, the reshoring activity, the energy investment activity, the large-scale technology buildouts are all going on. You've cited it in the GDP data, and it doesn't really matter where interest rates are. This is a buildout that almost feels like it needs to happen, so it's happening. Rates be damned. There's a necessity almost in the spending where the market is saying, this has to happen. So if the 2-year yield is at 3%, 5%, the Fed's going to cut rates this year or not, we can't be late and miss out on this. So it feels a little bit different, a little bit more resilient, maybe like the 1990s, because one aspect of this jobs report, Ellie, everyone's pointing to the participation rate continuing to fall. I'm looking at the prime age workforce participation rate. It's at 83.8% right now. You're going to find not many occurrences in American history where people ages 25 to 54 years old are active in the economy to that degree. The last time you saw that consistent level of participation among that cohort of workers was the late 1990s, and that was a booming economy.
Mm-hmm. Problem is there's not enough of them. The issue here isn't so much that those people aren't participating. It's that they are a much smaller cohort than the one that is leaving. And so we have labor shortages. Of course, the immigration crackdown doesn't help in this sense. That's an outlet for the supply of labor. And so you have a situation here, I think, that presents itself in a way where if you think that rates aren't important for spending $750 billion of money you don't have and that you have to borrow, well, I've got a bridge to sell you, because you need to get the money somewhere, and the cost of financing it's going to matter.
Do rates matter? Do we think the inflation numbers matter more than the jobs data? Is that why the April jobs report landed a little bit differently? Chat, tell us what you think below. Let us know in the comments. This has been another episode of Trading Trends. You've been watching Tasty Live. See you next video.